Do you know the best-selling games for the Switch? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's sort of a running joke and has been for the last decade or so that Smash and Mario Kart are basically system sellers. After your first 2 weeks with your Wii, the only time you use your Wii mode is to select the game. And RelaxAlax number 5, you can actually use a candle to replace your sensor bar. And it's how I started Super Smash Bros. Brawl for most of my Wii's life. Thanks, Kat, for chewing the wire to the sensor. Yeah. Thanks. But these are some of Nintendo's most iconic titles and are usually where people get introduced to Mario or Nintendo in the first place. And being an adult thingy, I'm usually the guy that brings the Switch to the party. And, you know, most conversation I make at these parties is...
Hey buddy, you know you can use that yellow stick to do better, you know? Just hit it. That's it.
And lo and behold, that guy became a Little Mac main. So I'm certain many of you have had the same thought process. Boom? Boom! Boom! Or like, you know, Super Nintendo Kart, Nintendo All-Star Kart. It's the same concept, mine's better though. I've been dreaming about this for so long. Like Link on a horse racing against Sonic, followed up by me being fucking let down. Maybe in the past this was just more of a pipe dream for fans, but it seems like we're in the era for it. Zelda crossed with Dynasty Warriors, Pokemon crossed with Tekken, Mario crossed with... cereal. Honestly, the Mario Kart formula has sort of come to a boil. Yeah, they might add a new gimmick, but it's essentially been the same game for the past, 20 years? So I'm looking forward to something new, and something that will really make people want to buy a new Mario Kart type of game. And this is the moneymaker. And maybe they already have this idea, but it wouldn't be a surprise to many of us. I mean, there's been hints for it for many years. Rob in Mario Kart DS, the Blue Falcon in Mario Kart Wii, and then Mario Kart 8's Link, Inkling, the Villagers, and Isabelle? It's about time we got this. It's about time we had a full-fledged Super Smash Kart. And today, I'm going to take you through how I would design it and implement many different Nintendo characters into one cohesive racing game. Firstly, we will talk about the gameplay. How would I design the game from the get-go? What overarching concepts do we want to include in a game like this? And I think the most important thing for Mario Kart or any type of karting game is accessibility. Mario Kart has always been available to people of different skill levels, of different age groups, and... so to make it not complicated for players or the demonstration of this video, I would keep it relatively similar to Mario Kart. You'd have drifting, you'd have boosting, you'd have the general gameplay style, so if you've played Mario Kart, you could understand this. But the one thing I would change over Mario Kart is to make it so you actually choose characters for a reason. In a lot of Mario Kart games, there's weight classes, and above that, there's no real reason to choose a character, and then you can choose whatever kart combination you want. If you want to get the best kart, it doesn't matter what character you pick, you know? I want a reason to choose Roy over Wario. Who wouldn't choose that ass? So this would be the first way I differentiate from Mario Kart. It wouldn't be like Mario Kart 8 where it's just the game and then a bunch of other Nintendo characters. And if Mario Kart 9 wants to do that again, fine, I wouldn't be angry at seeing more Nintendo characters in Mario Kart, but I feel like it's a little bit of a disservice to many of these characters in the series' history if they're just thrown into a dinky little cart. Although Ganondorf and the Itty Buggy would give me a new reason to live. So this means carts? Not necessary. We are gonna have characters represent themselves as best as possible while still being realizable in a racing game. Now, there are gonna be kart and bike characters, but we shouldn't limit ourselves. There should be airships, spaceship, people on horses, mounts, anything you can think of for a Nintendo All-Star. I think that's what would make this game so appealing and interesting above all the other kart racing games. God exists and he permitted this to happen. So this means at most we'd have on the ground and air racing, meaning that above the track, players could actually find shortcuts where in other Mario Kart games this wasn't the case. This would be a problem for design, but we're really gonna base it off of Kirby's Air Ride, Diddy Kong Racing, and Sonic Art to make it so these tracks are realizable without getting too overly complicated for the player. So I think that's a good umbrella of where we're gonna go, but we have all of these Nintendo characters that would likely race differently. How do we have a universal way to rank these characters in different stat classes so that we could actually design them in a meaningful way? I made words! Now with these stats, we can design characters basically however we want, but what do these things mean anyways? Top speed, duh. Acceleration is how fast you can get to that speed. Handling would be your turning radius and how you handle off-road in that land of DK nuts. Weight would really give context to how big that booty is and how you get pushed by other racers or environmental factors. Drift would be how tightly you can turn corners, and boost would be how much boost you get after you do the mini turbos. And I said less controversial things. Now what if I told you this already existed in Mario Kart? Ready? Yeah, toxic masculinity, alright. Now this pooting in past games was used to hop over things or assert your dominance on the track, but instead, in this game, it would actually serve more of a purpose. And this is where I guess some people will have a problem, because jumping and gliding, if you have a Ridley-ass character that just has all these abilities, they could just skip the entire track. So, gliding wouldn't be so much like flying as it would be
falling with style.
But this would be an additional layer added on top of the gliding mechanics already in Mario Kart, except am I the only one that does not see the purpose in doing this half of the time? When it's an auto section, oh boy, every character can do it. And when it's not an auto section, sometimes you're just better off driving to go faster, so it's not even cool. This, however, would be. It would be something that the player chooses to do based on the character they pick in order to navigate to different shortcuts. The jump statistic, by the way, would be something that can initiate your glide. Off of jumps, some characters may gain more height off of that jump, while others may not. It would be something to also help you avoid obstacles or skip parts of the track without a boost, which some characters may be able to do, while others may not. I think this would just give a reason to choose a racer other than preference. It would be as if you could actually have a main in this game with different abilities that you'd have to learn that would be totally different from another character. I think that is what's definitely missing from Mario Kart, and this would offer a unique difference. Oh, did you forget? I'm chaotic! I love jank! Give me all the jank! Special is such a funny word. It can be an insult, a compliment, a world, a button, a food combo, a meter. This is sort of inspired by the double dash items where each character or character class had a different item that they could use on the track that would differ in ability. But those were mostly offensive. Here, however, I want them to all be very, very different and be based on something from that character's history or just an ability you think they would have in a race. Some of them may be passive, while others may be full-blown attacks. It's really based on what these characters would do, which is why I'm trying to make it very open-ended and unique. This could get complicated very quickly, so instead, why don't we finally get to the part of the video you probably care about, the roster. As you can see, I love putting heads in rows. That's dark, actually. Whoa, Jesus. What is this, Game of Thrones? So obviously there are some exclusions here. I'm not including every damn character in Nintendo's history, and I'm not including third parties because that would just get bloated way too quickly, and I'm really just trying to show you the concept first and foremost. I would love it if you shared concept in the comments, but for now, we're gonna focus on the main squeezes of Nintendo, the big money makers, the people that made Nintendo what it is. And Fire Emblem. So just from the roster, you can't really discern what one character would do over the other, which is why I made this snazzy chart putting them into groups. All-rounders have it all. Now, they can do everything on the track, just they may not be able to do it as well as other characters. Air racers would be fantastic in the jumping and gliding categories, just maybe speed, acceleration, and handling would have to bite the bullet. Heavy boys are your thick racers. They're not moved by poetry, words, or Twitter comments. They literally just want to race down the track and knock everybody out of the way. Now, this will mean that their glide and jump category just makes them plummet like a rock. Speed racers are the highest skill category. They can race the fastest, have great acceleration and drifting, but they can't fly. They are not heavy, so if they get hit or knocked into the air, they will have trouble. And tricky racers. Is my Mario Power Tennis showing? These are sort of loose end characters that have one or two weird abilities or just a weird passive ability in their specials that cause them to not really fit into any of the other categories, but they're still effective racers. So that generally is where most of the characters fit, just some of them may not make sense to you because I haven't explained it to you. So I will go through most of the characters, maybe some not as much as others, because I want to really show off the unique concepts that would make this game different from Mario Kart. I don't think anyone's losing sleep on how I designed Peach. Except wake up, insomnia. Peach is one of the trickiest characters in the game. She has 3 toads at her disposal as her special items. She can use them in many different ways by throwing them onto other racers, using it to protect herself against items, or throwing one off onto the track so she can collect an item. This would make her a little slower and a little less feasible for high tier racing, but for beginners, she would be getting items literally anytime she wanted. So that makes sense as to why Toad's not up there. What about Yoshi? Boom, that's right, I'm a madman. I made a Super Mario World reference in a racing game. I feel like Mario and Yoshi's connection has been lost over time, but Yoshi's creation was because Mario needed a partner in Super Mario World, and that's really where the character found its roots, and wherever else it took him, fantastic. But this has been forgotten, and I feel like it should be represented somewhere in Nintendo history, and this would be the perfect place. Yoshi would drift around corners by attaching his tongue to walls and sliding around, while Mario wearing the cape would allow them to glide. Their special item would be Super Dragon, as we saw it in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, where Yoshi would grow wings, fly around the track, and shoot fire, being able to attack foes while also gaining traction for first place. Mario and Yoshi, I thought they should be a very basic character. Link on a motorcycle, I can't believe it's canon either. There's no reason we shouldn't include this. The Master Cycle debuted in Breath of the Wild, and I put it in the speed category, with relatively good handling, a jump, but no glide. Special-wise, I'd sort of have the champions be represented like the Lucky 7 item. Mifa's Grace could be activated and prevents you from falling off the map. Rivali's Gale lets you glide around for a short period. Daruk's Protection protects you by putting a barrier around you, protecting you from items. And her burst... what the fuck is her name? Urbosa's Fury sends out a shockwave to hit any of the opponents around you. You never want to be the guy that puts only one Link in your Smash racing game, so I included young Link on Epona to represent a different style of Link. This character obviously wouldn't be able to glide, but their special item would be carrots. Carrots. And two Links on the Spirit Train. I don't know what his special would be, but it has to include Alfonso. Kirby is an easy one. You put him on a Warp Star, give him basic stats, whatever. But I feel like his item could be problematic because it couldn't be anything other than a copy ability. But whether that's copying other players' abilities or items on the track, I don't know. I just feel like it has to be included if you put Kirby in. I would put Pikachu on a Charizard. I know there are mounts in Pokemon, so this is the perfect fit for them in a racing setting. Charizard would fit within the Flying Racer class, where he could fly around the track and glide. Their special, I didn't really know what it could be, so instead, I used the Dynamax abilities, where Pikachu would just be a giant, crushing anybody in his way on the track. I have good tastes. Similarly, Eevee would be on an Onix, and they would be in the heavy category. Similar special as well. And then a trainer in the Pokemon Snap card, please. Similarly, DK and Diddy. I was gonna look towards Barrel Blast for some sort of inspiration, but I thought some of their first appearances together would be a better place to start. Being in a minecart, wow, no. None. Being in a minecart from Donkey Kong Country. They would be a speedy pair with Diddy's rocket barrel to help them glide, and their special, I hate fun. And now the fun part with some of the less cartoony characters, starting with Samus. The gunship would be the obvious choice, at least for me. Remember that one scene from Melee's opening, or that whole scene in Brawl where all the spaceships are flying? That is basically what inspired this whole video, so it needs to happen. We'd have to scale it down, obviously, so it would fit on the track and make it so you could actually see Samus in there, but I think it would be a cool glide category, although having a bad speed stat, but a very strong handling stat. Her special ability would be the Charge Beam, where you could jump on top of her ship and either fire it forward or backward. Alternatively, Fox and Falco, they would be in the air class and probably be some of the best characters in that class, where they'd have bad drifting but high speed and high glide stats. It is a little hard because they would be in an R-Wing, but we couldn't let them just fly vertically up into the air, so they would not be able to fly freely, but freely enough. Their special would be the Landmaster, where they just decimate anybody on the track in their way. And probably the first character anyone would include, Captain Falcon. He's on the high end of stats, but also would not be great for beginners. High top speed and acceleration, but his gimmick would be like an F-Zero, where if you hit walls or take too much damage, your car explodes. So if you're the best of the best, this would probably be the character for you, but there's a lot of risk in playing a character like this. And speaking of racing characters, two that bit the bullet on the NES and barely got representation after that, unless you count Excite Truck, Mach Rider and the Excite Biker. Mach Rider would function similarly to Falcon, where they'd have high speed stats, no gliding, none of that, but if you take enough damage, they will explode. He also has a pea shooter in Mach Rider that I'd want to include, but I don't know where it would fit, so I mean, just give it to him. And Excite Biker. He would be in the tricky category because he would have a very big jump stat, but no gliding ability. So he maybe could find some shortcuts, but it wouldn't be like other racers at all. I have no idea what Excite Biker's special could be. Maybe he launches off a ramp and just flies onto first place. And Fire Emblem. I know nothing about Fire Emblem. They have wyvern classes and horse classes, so just put them in there, give them a critical hit special. And Inkling's return from their premiere appearance in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Honestly, I'd throw Inkling in a cart powered by ink, and their special, obviously, would be the Killer Whale. Fire it across the track and nuke anybody in your way. Villager and Isabelle I'd put in a cart. It wouldn't be anything special, except for their special, where you could pick up bells on the track that, once you collect enough, you can upgrade your cart to something faster and better. Pinna had a bit of trouble figuring out, because he could just fly around, but fuck him. So I took inspiration from one of his many final smashes, the Lightning Chariot, where he would race around in a similar fashion to Link on Epona, and his special would call upon Palutena and her army to attack anyone on the track. Now here's where I'm actually excited. Some of the less popular Nintendo All-Stars making their way to the racetrack, or returning to the racetrack. Did you notice in that game, when he turns, he doesn't have a steering wheel, but he does the same motion as when he's playing Stack Up as the original NES Rob did? Know your fucking moves. Anyways, Rob would be a pretty basic heavy racer, nothing special about him. He could glide with his jet similar to how he does in Smash Bros, and for a special, maybe he drops those little circular things from the Rob games all over the track, hitting people like thwomps. And the Wii Fit Trainer! Huh? Get this. Wii Fit Trainer on the Cardio Cruiser, a racing vehicle that has the Wii Fit Trainer run on it like a treadmill, and if you successfully time your deep breathing, you go faster. You know you want it. Captain Olimar wouldn't be in the Hocotate ship. It's tough to visualize, but snort some vinegar and then we'll be on the same wavelength. Olimar is carried by a horde of Pikmin. Each colored Pikmin affects a stat based on the in-game abilities of those Pikmin in Pikmin. And Olimar can pluck them as you drive around the track, you know, purple for weight, flying for glide. Everyone loves RNG, right? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the What the F*** editions, starting with... Who? Stunt Race FX was originally only on the SNES, making use of the advanced processing to produce somewhat 3D graphics on a racing game. This is mostly a funny pick for me, but I like how the characters have their own wheel limbs and eyes on them. With SNES Online, this is the first appearance they've had in over a decade, so I feel like adding them here would be really fun and a nice callback to Nintendo's history. F-Type would be a speed class, though sort of janky in handling, and 4WD would be a huge monster truck dominating his weight class. Both of their special items would be Trailer. This was a bonus game in Stunt Race FX where you took control of an 18-wheeler and just drove through certain checkpoints. Here, however, it would check out every racer from on top of them because it would crush the shit out of them. Oh my god, okay, so I did design the rest of the characters, but like this video is getting long, so if you really want to see them, please let me know. Please. I think you've got a good idea of how I'd go about designing most of the characters in this game, but we have the whole topic of tracks to go through. There are so many locations in Nintendo history that would be perfect for tracks, so it was really hard to narrow it down, but the way I organized it is by console release. That's right, no Wii U, everyone laugh at it, ready, 1, 2, 3. Okay, moving on. So here's our track list. I figured categorizing the tracks into when series first appeared would be the logical way in organizing things, and it would also give series that may not appear later in Nintendo's history a chance to shine. Like, you couldn't have Excite Bike or Duck Hunt in any other cup. Similarly, it gives a chance for games that may have debuted on certain consoles, like the Game Boy with Pokemon and Kirby, a designated cup. As well, it shines a light on popular games from certain consoles. I had so much trouble picking SNES tracks because there are so many good games in this generation. And just because a track appears in NES or SNES category, they wouldn't be 8-bit or 16-bit. It would just be organizing when a series appeared. I tried my best to not make all of the tracks Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon, and while there are more of those than others, I think I made a good distribution. So I really tried to have a grab bag of different types of locations that would be interesting for racing settings, but it seems I have some unconscious fixation on islands with volcanoes on them, call my therapist. N64 and GameCube, I kinda chose games that reminded me of those generations, while when it came to the DS, I sorta went off of the rails. Who let the dogs out? Me. I did. It was me. This was a weird era, but the DS and 3DS systems had games like Rhythm Heaven, Brain Age, and Nintendogs that really wouldn't get love anywhere else, so I think it really represents those generations and would be perfect for unique tracks. And it always gets sort of sad when you get to the Wii generation. Yeah, it's like a mix of everything. We got Gusty Garden, Wii Fit, and Gower Plains. Like, it's really a mess here, but I don't know any generation that was more of a mess than the Wii. And finally, the Switch Cup, concluding with Nintendo's biggest games of this generation, and Fire Emblem Three Houses. I had to put it somewhere, that's my final answer. And that is Super Smash Kart. Honestly, I'm surprised we haven't seen it announced or made yet, because it's such a no-brainer idea for Nintendo at this point. I feel like if it's going to happen though, it likely will happen maybe in the next few years. There's no reason why they wouldn't, and they've shown interest in doing it at least. The only reason why I think they wouldn't do this is for the fact that Mario Kart is for beginners. Having them be so basic and having the characters play basically the same is what makes Mario Kart so fun and available to everybody. If you have a bunch of characters that play so differently, then maybe new players will be less likely to enjoy it. But then again, I see people suck at Mario Kart, so I just don't know if that matters. I would like to see more offered from Nintendo's franchises, and now in such an age where Nintendo's more open to make them appear in different games, this would be the first logical step. So, Super Smash Kart, it's a bit of a stinky risk for me to make a video like this, so if you did like it, please show in the comments and like in this video, as well as sharing it.